It's week 2, Johnny. Week 2. After a strong week 1.
It was a good week 1.
It was. I am your host, Sully. Please like, subscribe. And this is the co-host, the Australian wonder, Palmer.
From down under.
As we learned yesterday. Or last week. John Robinson. Feels like
man, what a good week of football. It was an interesting week. It was a low-scoring affair. I saw somewhere online, I can't remember, I think it might have been The Ringer, or someone was saying that it was the one of the lowest scoring weekends of football, or second lowest in the last 30 years.
It felt like preseason.
Yeah, it did. Some interesting interesting takeaways to come out of it. So scoring stats, everything was down for the weekend. So road teams were 12-4 against the spread. Favorites were 7-9 against the spread, 43%.
Okay.
Home dogs were 1-4. Home favorites were 3-8.
What was going on?
And offenses were bad, under 12-4. So there were also 9 teams that didn't play their quarterbacks in the preseasons, and those teams were 2-7 against the spread in the first half. So
it was like preseason.
It was. It took a while for all the teams to get going. And it really felt like that. Only every game, so unders were 12-4. Only 4 games went over their implied total.
Now let me ask you a question, John. Do you think that this week is a drastic improvement, or do you think it's just a small step up in increase in offensive efficiencies, or do you still think it's going to be a defensive game? Or defensive battle, I should say this week.
It's funny you say that, because the natural inclination in my mind is to always, whatever the week 1 was, week 2 is the inverse of week 1.
Yeah, it's bizarro world, right? In the NFL.
It's always bizarro world. We will expect everything to go up. I'm sure of it.
How up?
Well, this is the thing. For all of the weeks that we're going to be talking about, all 18 regular season weeks, week 2 kind of seems like the one that I might take a backseat on a little bit, stay away from a little bit, unless you feel super, super confident that there's an angle that you can attack or, take advantage of, which we'll still talk about. Yep. But I'm going to temper some expectations, that's for sure. What about you, man? What was your takeaway from the weekend? Outside of Burrow getting the smackdown on him, his worst game ever.
I was trying to avoid talking about the Bengals. My heart, it hurt.
Hey man, Seahawks were no better. So.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, it was just awesome watching a full slate of football. Once Red Zone clicked on, that was just incredible. That was incredible. Honestly, I think there was a lot of rising stars that you could really see how they're going to impact their teams. I got a fairly good. I feel like there's a start of a backbone for my season in how I'm viewing players. Now, I never overreact. I'm not an overreactor. You know?
Say that, but you did bet on the Jets, man.
And you know my rule. I'm wearing an MGM hat. The Jets may have invested interest in MGM. They might. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. I have no idea. But I did. Whatever. It was
poor Jets fans, man. My heart goes out to you.
I don't feel bad. No. I feel bad for Aaron Rodgers. I feel bad for the Jets. But I don't feel bad for myself, because it's not like I lost a house, there was nothing really substantial in there.
Of course.
But I wanted a good game out of Garrett Wilson. I did, just for the sake of having to watch Garrett Wilson have a good game. And then after, when Aaron said, "I'm sorry, kid," that made me so sad for Garrett, because I know that Garrett Wilson's going, man,
not this shit again.
There goes my fucking season.
Yeah.
Do the Jets bring in another quarterback, or is Zach Wilson the guy?
No, they have to bring in someone. This is their window. The question is who. I've heard some really awesome ideas floated around. So I think the one that makes the most sense is bringing probably in Matt Ryan. And the reason I say that is because, after he got done dirty in the broadcast booth over the weekend by his co-commentator.
Slayed.
Some people have actually floated the idea of the trading with the Vikings for Kirk Cousins to come in, which would be a bit spicy.
Could you imagine?
I want to set Jameis free, man. They've got to set Jameis free.
John,
I know
you cannot tell me that Jameis Winston's the answer for the Jets to go to the Super Bowl. You just can't say
starting caliber quarterback.
He is. He's definitely, but not on a Super Bowl caliber roster. You know?
Yeah.
No.
Right,
yeah.
Let's take a look at this Thursday night.
No, but hold on. What did we do right? What did we do right last week?
There was a bunch. I tried to make some edits on videos. I could only get through the quarterbacks that we hit on.
Crushed it, dude. I don't even know what I don't even know what our final record was, but I know that I was pretty darn close to 100%.
We were all over the Jags. Basically, the novice play was to just attack the rookie quarterback teams, and that's what sort of won you. Outside of Lamar not playing too well, but the Jags they performed really well for us. Calvin Ridley was as I expected. Lawrence was good. Travis Etienne made me a lot of money. He hit on all of his props. Even Tank hit on pretty much all of his props as well. The only one who didn't was Christian Kirk. But outside of that, they were a very profitable team. The Bucks were a really sharp play. Like a lot of people were on the Vikings going to be a good team. I did not think so. I did not put it past Baker and Mike Evans, Chris Godwin to come in and laid on the Vikings defense, who doesn't look like they're too much better than they were last year.
Agreed. They don't look very good. And that game was, that was tough to watch. I didn't want to watch it.
How about the Dolphins and Chargers just massacring each other?
Just like you and the entire world thought. That game was a shootout.
Yeah. There were points galore. And I've got a futures ticket on Tua for 40 plus touchdowns, which I don't mind.
Yeah, anybody who took Tyreek Hill last week, that was it. I made that call last week too. It was on the other side of the ball. You were all on the Chargers. You said Mike Williams, unfortunately, but dud.
But I'm going to go back to Mike Williams this week, and I'll tell you why. Yeah. He got injured towards the end of the second quarter, just before halftime.
So why do you want to go back to him if he's injured?
He came back in towards the end of the game. Mm-hmm. I think we can go back to him because I think his yards will still be down. We saw last week so the Chargers played the Titans. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but we'll talk about it now just quickly. Chargers play the Titans, who just played Derick Carr, who was able to throw plenty of deep bombs to Rashid Shaheed. I see that sort of happening again. And because of Mike Williams' injury and going under, his lines I don't think they'll go up too much. So they should stay where they are. He was looking really, really good out there.
That was definitely an exposing of the safeties of Tennessee. So I think you're right. I think they're going to take a couple shots. Anyway, we got Thursday. Well, hold on. Puka Nacua. Okay.
Yeah, go off.
Just let me have my moment, man. Just let me friggin' have my moment. Just let me go off for a second.
Yeah, let me clip this.
Puka Nacua. If you invested early in fantasy to Puka Nacua, if you took him in Dynasty, you should be excited. You should be really excited. When Matt Stafford has hard eyes for somebody, he doesn't stop having hard eyes for them. Cooper Kupp, Triple Crown. Why? There are tons of wide receivers that are worthy of Triple Crown.
Mm-hmm. Stafford looked good, man, against the Seahawks. Like he was just dunking all over the defense. He looked like vintage Matt Stafford. That was probably one of the better games I've ever seen him played. And like, to be fair, like Sean McVay just coached a really, really good game. Seahawks got beat.
I just love those hard eyes so much. And you know what? I saw it coming from a mile away. So if you followed the show last week, you would have made some good money if you followed our picks, especially Puka Nacua, Nick Chubb as well. John.
The other ones you would have like heard from. So I sort of faded Justin Fields a lot. I needed to see it, even though he did go over his passing yardage, which was good. We needed it, and his pass attempts, which we were on. But rushing was just on the line, but just under. Fading Deshaun Watson was a good call. We were right on that. Burrow couldn't get it done. Dak was an interesting one because I was on his overs, but because of the game script, with all the defensive scoring and the special team scoring, it just it completely flipped that game on its head. And Anthony Richardson overs was a good call as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did well. We did really well. and hopefully we do well again for you this week, everybody. Had some great feedback from last week's show anyway, so let's carry it on and let's keep this torch rolling. And we're good, John. You and I, we're good. I don't know.
You and I, we're good.
We're good. We're good. We're good. Like, yeah, we're good. But like, no, we're fucking good. Like, coming out of last season over 80% and then starting this season over 80%. That's come on.
Let's make some content.
Yeah, let's make some content and let's help some people make some money. So Thursday night.
I want to talk quickly about the Thursday night game. I'm interested in it. So Vikings are going to Philadelphia.
Okay.
I think so. The line opened at Philly -7.5. That's been bet down so far to 6.5, which I think is a pretty significant line movement, if you ask me.
There's some big money. There's some big money
on the Vikings.
Yes, coming in on the Vikings. Yes.
So a couple of angles that I want to attack here. If you watched Jalen Hurts last week against the Patriots, his designed rushes were down. We talked about Justin Fields and Anthony Richardson. All of them didn't have too many designed rushes, which is what you kind of need for fantasy. His rushing line last week was 40.5, and he didn't get it. His rushing line this week is 45.5. I need to see, without Shane Steichen there, is this a different sort of regime? Are they trying to protect Jalen Hurts? There was also a lot of, if you actually watch him rush, in years gone by, he would be breaking tackles. He'd be juking dudes out on the other side of the ball. But he didn't. First. As soon as he got hit on the weekend, he just went down. So I don't know if it was the weather or the environment, hostile environment there in New England, but I'm kind of looking at this under 45.5. He was not consistent at all last year as well when it came to overs and unders for his rushing props. So that is one angle I'm slightly looking at. Also, the other one is his passing yardage was 240 last week. It's at 250 at the moment. You can get it for. He didn't hit that either. If this game script is going to be Eagles -7, I think it implies that they're going to be out in front for the most part. And then I don't think he's going to need to rely too much on his passing ability. So
I don't think so either. It's a great game for the running backs.
Yeah, well, and then on that side of the ball, do we know what the status of Kenneth Gainwell is? Because he hasn't been practicing.
No, he hasn't been practicing, but I do think this is a DeAndre Swift game.
Yeah, so do I. I think that they are going to get him way more involved this week. Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch. That's one of my biggest L's so far this season.
Okay, John, I'm going to throw the first prop pick out right now.
Yeah, go for it, please.
I'm going to tag this down. Good feedback that we should be adding these in these tags. DeAndre Swift, longest rush. Over 10.5. Book it.
Longest rush over 10.5. I think that's not too bad. Look at this Vikings. The Vikings team, the Vikings defense, they were not too much of a problem. I mean, they were matched up against Rashad White and
Rashad White looked good.
He looked okay. Sean Tucker was the other one I was thinking. I thought Sean Tucker was the one who looked really good.
They both look good. Sean Tucker as a rookie, he looked good.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we don't have any lines up on Action Network yet for any rushing props on the Eagles side of the ball because I think that no one knows.
No, they do. I'm looking at Swift right now.
Oh, are you? Man, okay, maybe I should subscribe. Hey, Action Network, would you like to sponsor our show so that I can start talking about you?
Right? Yeah, maybe that's good. That's a good company to go start. Yeah, so they've got actually no, they don't. They just have rushing longest rush. Longest rush is the only one. And that's Swift.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm looking everywhere. I can't see it. So
I think they're going to wait till Kenneth Gainwell, the news comes out.
Yeah.
But either way, I still think that this is a very run heavy game for Philly.
Okay.
Take the wheel. DeAndre Swift over 10.5, longest rush.
One other angle I'm looking to attack, and you may not hear me say this for the rest of the season, but I am looking at Justin Jefferson over 95 receiving yards. Again, I think that like the only reason Philly looked really even a little bit good against the Patriots last week was because they had that defensive touchdown to start the game, and then they were sort of more in control. But like Mac Jones played a good game. The Patriots receivers were playing a really good game. The only one who didn't really was Keyshawn Boutte, who couldn't bring in either of his passes. But Hunter Henry went over all of his props.
Juju
Demario
looked good.
Douglas went over all of his props. Juju looked good. He went over his receiving props. And Kendrick Bourne was a star. He went over all of his props. So they were
Bourne. They were looking at Bourne constantly.
Yeah,
and same with Demario. He played really well.
Yep, exactly. And I think you might even be able to go back to Kendrick Bourne this week against the Dolphins.
Stevenson, the receiving from Stevenson.
Exactly. I think that we're still caught up on the Eagles defense from last season, who were blowing out all of their sort of like stat averages and margins that we're used to seeing. So Addison went over all of his props. TJ Hawkinson went over his receiving props. Most of the lines are still the same from last week. So I think that this might be one of the only times while the money's coming down on the Vikings. I think that this might be, I'm looking Jefferson's way this one time only.
I am not supporting you on this journey. I'm just not doing it. Something scares me about it. Now I know it is. I know that
hostile environment.
Yeah, and Kirk.
Primetime Kirk.
I think he breaks the curse. I think he breaks it this game. Yeah, and I think it's a storyline. I think the NFL, they're going to go Kirk Cousins in primetime. Here's his stats in prime time, and then they're going to put They're going to put betting odds on the screen, and everyone's going to go like, "Oh fuck, Kirk Cousins sucks. Let's bet against him." And then Kirk Cousins is going to come out wearing fucking chains, and he's gonna get on the airplane and he's going to dance his fucking ass off. But no, I think honestly, Kirk's going to have a pretty good game. But I'm weary. I'm weary on the shadowing. I'm weary on the following Justin Jefferson around the field. I think they're going to try and stop him any way that they possibly can. And I think double coverage is inevitable. It always is with him. Darius Slay.
It doesn't matter. Like, this is the thing with Jefferson and Tyreek Hill and all these guys. Elite receivers are elite. Like Jefferson
they are elite, but
half last season.
Elite corners are elite too, right? And and yeah, if you go back, I don't know. Do you have handy the Patriots game?
Yep.
Okay, so what was the highest receiving? Like it was Kendrick Bourne, right?
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne had a day, man. 2 touchdowns. Let me just bring this line up quickly. Yeah, Kendrick Bourne, 6 of 11 for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. Demario Douglas, 4 catches, 40 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster, 4 catches, 33 yards. One thing I will say, though, is Mac Jones had 54 passing attempts and 35 completions. That kind of sustainability I don't see continuing.
Yes, that's a lot of throwing. That's a lot of throwing. And he was trying to throw the ball deep, too. So I'm not familiar with the target map on the field with what, where he was targeting the most. Probably short yardage, but there's something that really scares me. Like Justin Jefferson, I like his receptions, but his yardage, I just don't think they're going to let him go out to the island out there with Slay and somebody else. And I don't think they're going to try a lot of deep throws with him. I just don't. There's something in my gut, and it just tells me like stay away from Jets. But I could get burned. Like that's the type of guy that could burn you 200 yards.
Yeah, I mean, like here's just the final angle I'm looking at. So, and I think this is what the sharps are looking at as well. So Kirk Cousins prop lines at the moment, 260 passing yards, 37.5 passing attempts, and 24.5 passing completions.
24.5 completions. That's a lot
way up. They're way up from last week. They're way up from what he's usually produced, but he goes way over. Like even last week against the Bucs, I think he was in the 40s for attempts. No, 44 passing attempts last week. And I think with all the money coming in, like they're going to go somewhere, and Jefferson can catch him. So I don't know. I'm feeling it. So
I totally agree. You go with it. You go with it. I do like the receptions, but if I'm taking a receiver in this one, I think I'm taking Addison over 3.5 receptions.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a good call as well. You could probably even look TJ Hawkinson's way, although I think he's got 5.
It's 5 flat. Yeah. 5 flat. Addison 3.5. No. Addison over 3.5 receptions.
Addison, I like
for Thursday.
Alexander Madison, I do not like. Stay away.
Yeah, no rushing. Not here.
He's not good. I don't know why people like him.
Lion's share. I would like to see Tyler Chandler take over that backfield, though, to be honest with you.
I'd like to see them bring in Kareem Hunt or something like that. Anyway, let's get to the slate. So that's just a little bit on Thursday Night Football. It should be a really good game. Look, it's even just gone down to 6 now. I'm telling you, man, the money is coming in on the Vikings.
Yep, I agree. Okay, let's move
on.
And
the over-under's going up, 49.5. It was at 49.
Yep.
There's going to be points to be had.
I think so.
I think
the reason for that.
What angles are you looking at? So I'm looking at Football Outsiders DVOA, which is going to be a bit all over the shop at the moment. So DVOA is defense adjusted value over average, and it basically looks at
put her on the board, bud.
Who was the best teams? Oh, you want me to put it up? Yeah, okay. I could probably do that. I'm on FTN Fantasy is where I found it today.
You're just on some adult site.
Fantasy is a funny name, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously we can see from week 1, these were the best teams. The Cowboys, the Jags, the Browns, Packers, 49ers, Ravens, and so on. It's interesting to see the Dolphins up there because if you look at the worst teams, which were the Giants, the Bengals, Steelers, the Bears, Colts, Chargers is an interesting one there, and then of course Texans, Titans, Seahawks are all there.
And can you repeat? Can you repeat again what this is for?
So this is basically looking at it takes the expectation of what the defenses played and the offenses, and then kind of creates a score for them. So it sort of helps it look like who are the best sort of like power rankings, if that helps. So if we actually, so that's actually overall. If we actually adjust this by defense, which is, well, like I was saying, it's going to be incredibly skewed, but we can see the worst teams were the Chargers and the Dolphins, the Seahawks, the Chiefs, the Bears. But we know why, and this is what I was saying, the Chargers and the Dolphins, man, they just massacre each other. Yeah. That's why they're going to be here. Yeah. Some of the best teams. So these are the teams that I'd be avoiding. Any matchups. So the matchups this week against the Cowboys, I think the Browns look good. I think the Jags will change. They play the Chiefs, so that'll come down. 49ers play the Rams. That'll probably stick around there as well. So I like to sort of go down and look at these teams. So Dolphins, who are matched up against the Patriots, is an angle I'm looking at attacking. The Seahawks, who are playing Detroit, I'm looking at the Lions here. Especially, we don't know the status of the Seahawks' 2 tackles who we lost on the weekend, which was Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas. They might be back, but I'm not sure. I do like this Chiefs angle with the Jags. I wouldn't mind going back to the well with the Jags. And then let's look at the Bears. I think you're starting in a good place. So the Chicago Bears this weekend up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, there's a couple plays that I really like here, but I'm going to ask you to name a position for me.
Yeah, let's go. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver.
So naming all the positions.
I wouldn't mind looking at the quarterbacks, to be honest.
Okay, we could look at Fields. I like him for the actual receiving totals or the passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
What's he at, 260 or something like that?
So passing yards, we're looking at 175 for Justin Fields and 220 for Baker. That's going over.
Justin Fields over 175.5.
That's less than it was last week against the Packers, and he smashed it.
That's insane. And then I think you can couple that with both the running back, and you can couple that with the number 1 WR and DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take the yard
bounce back game for
the yardage totals on both of them. Yeah. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are, but Khalil Herbert, I would take over 10. I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to look right now, actually, so that I can give appropriate advice.
Yeah. So DJ Moore last week was 50 yards and 3.5 receptions. And he did not hit those. He had a bad game, but Cole Kmet hit his of 25.5 and 2.5 receptions. He got over. And so did Darnell Mooney actually had a really good game.
Yeah, he did. But DJ Moore's at 43.5. So let me take the over on DJ Moore. DJ Moore over 43.5 receiving yards. And then if Khalil Herbert comes in here at 9.5 or 10, I would take the over on Khalil Herbert as well.
Right on. I don't mind those, although we did see a bit of Roshan Johnson in garbage time.
Garbage time, though.
He looks good. Yeah,
he did look good.
Like, he's a rookie. Let's try him out now, see what he can do.
Just get the whistle.
I didn't mind that. Now, I just want to stay on this game quickly because on the other side of the ball, Mike Evans is getting 50.5 receiving yards at the moment. I'm looking Mike Evans' way. I think that this Baker to Evans stack would not bad. So he had 66 receiving yards last week against the Vikings. The Bears' defense is, like I said on last week's show, I don't see them being that much improved. The Packers, so Dobbs had 26 receiving yards. Joan Reed had 48 receiving yards. And Musgrave had 50 receiving yards. But it was the Aaron Jones show for the most part. I think 86 receiving yards. I think that this is an angle that we can attack where the Bears are going to Tampa Bay to play as well. What was it? What did I say? 50? It was 60 last week, and he hit it. So
yeah, it feels more short yardage for me. Who's their WR3? Is it Trey Palmer?
Yeah, it's Trey Palmer. But he was like looking long to Evans quite often in the game last week.
He's going to try it. He's going to try it at least 2-3 times in the game. So, I mean,
I think so.
50 yards. If he catches one of those for 35, you're in good shape, which I think
Justin Fields is at 60 and a half rushing yards as well. Now,
see you later.
Last week, they played 2 designed rushes for Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. Everything else was scrambles. I wouldn't mind betting under 60 and a half if I'm being honest.
Yeah, the only thing is those scrambles scare the shit out of me, John. And they do. Like, and that's the thing is he's the type of game breaker that if he sees an opening, he'll take it and he'll rush, and he could rush for 60 in one shot.
For sure.
So those types of unders, they scare me, and those types of overs, they scare me. Like, I just stay away from them. It's the smart. To me, it's a smarter play to just look the other way.
For sure.
Yes. Okay. So that game was good. Now that gives you, I mean, I'm not going to take Khalil Herbert as my running back choice. But DJ Moore, I'm taking that as a receiver choice.
Yep.
That's 43 and a half. Is that what I said?
Yeah. It's like 45 and a half moment. Yeah. He's come way down on the back of last week. So, but the Bucks defense is still really good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, don't get me wrong. They are. I just that's not a lot of yards for a guy as talented as he is. And you could see the connection starting to brew. You could see it. You could see it. He was looking his way often. It's just the Bears had a really hard time against the Packers. And Alexander, like DJ Moore was playing against one of the league's best corners.
Yeah.
So that is true. What are you going to do? Like, off the line, your feet get all tangled up because, like, honestly, Alexander's that good. He will make you look dumb. And he did. He made him look dumb. He doesn't have that challenge this week. So for me, in the preseason, there was one. I don't know if Moore took it to the house. I can't remember. But it was a pass that was like right on the line of scrimmage. And and that's the type of thing that Moore can do to you is the second that he realizes that corner's easing off of him and stepping back potentially into zone, if Fields and him are on the same page, that could be just a menace. It could be a menace all game long. And so, I mean, even with Moore, I would probably take the completions over if it's 3.5, because I do think that this is going to be a big part of the game script, I feel, in that game. Anyway, I like DJ Moore all around the board.
Love it, man. I want to move now to next game. So I want to talk about this Monday night football doubleheader. We've got the Saints going to the Panthers and then the Browns going to the Steelers. I'm on this Saints game, the slightly earlier game. Here's one player that I'm really looking at. Derick Carr to Devontae Adams last season was a huge link up. I think that they led the league in deep passes of like 20 or more yards downfield. Mm-hmm. And they were hitting on a lot of them. Now, Derick Carr, who also at one point had Henry Ruggs throwing to and other like various players downfield in the season, as he's gotten better as a quarterback over the years, he's become more confident in throwing downfield. I was watching a great clip on the internet I think it was yesterday, which I tweeted out, which was Derick Carr linking up with Rashid Shaheed with the game on the line. He was like,
"You said just freaking run, man."
Yeah, talking to his quarterback coach, he's like, "Give me a shot. Give me one more shot to Rashid Shaheed for a deep bomb." So this is the way I'm looking. So Shaheed he's the wide receiver 3 on the team. You can maybe make a case he's wide receiver 2, depending on how you feel about Michael Thomas. Mm-hmm. Chris Olave against the Titans last weekend, 112 receiving yards. Michael Thomas, 61 receiving yards. Rashid Shaheed, 89 receiving yards.
That's a lot of receiving yards.
That's a lot.
Does that tell you more about the Saints or does it tell you more about the Titans?
Tells me a lot about the Titans, which, as I mentioned at the start of the show, who play the Chargers this week. I like Mike Williams for a big bounce back game. And I like Rashid Shaheed in this game. So they're going to be playing the Panthers, who we don't actually really know anything about because they played the Falcons on the weekend, who just refused to throw to their top
steaming hot pile of garbage.
They will run the ball into obliteration. So I think we're going to learn a bit more about the Panthers this week. I think didn't I hear that JC Horn as well might have gotten injured? He was out of the game last weekend. I don't know what his status is, so check on that. But a longest completion to Rashid Shaheed, I really like.
What is it at? Is it at 20?
The problem is that this is Monday Night Football, so we probably won't know till later.
It's got to be around 19 and a half.
Yeah, look, the lines were big last week, but all these Saints receivers hit him. Olave had 70 yards, Thomas had 60 yards, and Shaheed had 60 yards.
What were the longest?
Okay, Olave's long was 45, Shaheed's long was 41, Michael Thomas's long was 25. Juwan Johnson's long was 27.
Yeah, I mean, Carr was hucking him.
They're torching them.
I think that was part of the game script. I think that's part of the game script. And do I think that game script repeats itself on Monday night? I don't think so, but I do.
Prime time.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's prime time. I like in that game. To be honest with you, I like the running back. I like
Jamaal Williams.
Jamaal Williams, yeah.
Really, I don't think he looked good last weekend. Though.
No, he didn't look good, but it's game script. I like him to trudge through the mud here. I like them feeding him the ball often. So his rushing attempts, if they're at 11 or 10 and a half, I would probably take that.
They were at 17 and a half last weekend, and he had 18 carries.
He had 18. So it's going to be high again.
Yeah. Oh man, I put him under there. He basically didn't hit on any of his props though.
No, he didn't. He didn't get the yardage. He's going to get the yardage this game. But I mean, it depends what the yardage comes in at. If the yardage comes in at 40, give that to me. But I think it'll be down. No, it's a good one. So I'm looking at these Saints receivers, man. I'm feeling good about them. I think the lines are high, but I think that they will do well in primetime Monday Night Football. I'll give you that.
Game 1.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Tight end. I'm going to go back to the well in which I visited last week. I'm going to go back to Musgrave, and I'm going to take him for 3 receptions.
He was great.
He was great. He looked great. The separation that he was creating. Jordan Love missed him on a deep shot that would have been a touchdown. Would have been a touchdown if Love had a little more finesse on that ball. It was just a rush throw, and watching Musgrave run down the field and scorch the DBs.
Yeah. Did you see him on his longest reception? So he had a 37-yard bomb, and you could see he ran the post down the line. He turned around at at 37 yards, had the ball coming to him, and he just had this look on his face of oh my God, I need to catch this. He caught it and then just instantly just hit the ground, even though there's nobody on him.
Yeah.
He was just I cannot drop this ball. He was so focused. He was so locked in.
He's looking like a stud, and I think against the Falcons, it's going to be that way. I think that game's going to be pretty sloppy, to be honest with you.
The over-under is 40.5. Packers -1 at the moment.
Yeah. I don't even know where I would go with that. I think obviously watching what happened to the Bears last week by tempting the secondary of the Packers, which is no joke. That secondary is no joke. If you're Atlanta, I don't think Drake London's going to have another dud. He's going to have another dud.
You think he's going to put up another zero?
Not a zero, but but it's not it's not going to be what everybody wants Drake London to put up. I'll put it that way.
The only thing
I take some receiving totals from Bijan. I think that's in the realm. That's definitely in the realm. I keep the ball away from the secondary. Keep the ball short. If Bijan has two receptions, 2.5 receptions, I don't think the line's up right now. It's definitely not. But if it's 2.5 receptions, I would probably go Bijan at 2.5 receptions.
Yeah, I mean, he had 6 catches last week, so
It'll be
if
3. It's
anything
not going to be more than 3. It won't be.
Yeah. My only approach to this game, though, is so Jordan Love threw the ball 15 times for 245 passing yards, which is not bad. We know that the Falcons, they want to run the ball and control the clock and then control the game. But if Jordan Love is able to play as well as he did last week, this game could get out of hand quickly. And then that's where I see that the Falcons will probably need to turn it up. Now, they had a pretty favorable matchup against the Panthers and Bryce Young's first game last week, so they were able to control the game through the run. I wouldn't be surprised if this game sort of starts to get out early and the Packers do score, which forces the Falcons to score or to change their game script, perhaps. But you never know. Arthur Smith is stubborn. He might not abandon the run, even if they're down by 2 touchdowns.
I don't think he will. And I don't think he will, but I do think that the Atlanta defense will hang there with the Pack. I don't imagine Love's going to have the game he did last game. I think it'll be decent. But with the reports out that Romeo Doubs may not play.
Is that right? Is Christian Watson going to play?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Well,
I still like the completions. Aaron Jones, I think, will have a good game. He'll have a good game.
Is he going to play? Did you see he tweaked his hamstring on his long touchdown run? I'm just going to check on his status real quick. So from 2 hours ago,
he ran straight into the locker room, didn't he?
Yeah,
they all followed him down the hall.
Aaron Jones did not practice today, so that might be just and that's why the line is so close.
That might be maintenance.
That could be the case. Christian Watson from 5 hours ago, he did not practice as well. Holy crap! And then Doubs is limited, but he's like way down on the depth chart here. So, they got a few injuries that I didn't consider.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game, and I'll give you a chance to retract your guesstimation.
Oh, you don't need to. I can just edit it out later. Edit myself to say whatever I want.
Yeah, it's true. You could. Yeah, you're the guy who edits this. Just edit yourself out. But Falcons in that game, Musgrave and I like Bijan over 2.5 receptions. If it goes to 3 on a flat, I would still take that.
Yeah. There is one more game that I want to attack, if that's okay. A few teams quickly that I'm not looking at. So the Giants will have a good bounce back game this week against the Cardinals. Who that's going to be, I have no idea. Let's hope it's a good Darren Waller game I'd be looking at there. The Chiefs and the Jags are semi-interesting, but I think that this has got massive shootout potential all over it. It's over-under is 51 at the moment.
Yeah, that's going to be the game of the week, I think.
Oh, yeah. Seahawks Lions, I'm staying away from, mainly because I'm a Seahawks homer, but also Lions are favored -5. I think that if you're betting +5 on the Seahawks, you're betting on Geno Smith is going to be good. And we don't know the status of these linemen, as I was saying. So I think the Seahawks could really struggle in this game, even though the over-under is 47.
The ball will still be in the air, though.
Yeah, the ball will still be in the air, but I think that based on what we saw last week, this Detroit defense is well improved. Brian Branch looked amazing against Chiefs in his first game, even though he did leave the game injured. Last game that I want to attack, I'm looking at these Cleveland Browns. Now, did you watch the game in full, your Bengals, last weekend?
Yeah, I did.
This over-under is brutal. It's 38.5. So Browns are traveling to the Steelers.
That's such an ugly game. It's so AFC North, especially right now while the teams are sloppy.
What do you
want to see in that game? What do you fucking want to see in that game, John?
So DVOA defensively has ranked the Browns as second overall, just behind the Cowboys, whereas the Steelers sitting, where are they sitting? Yeah, not too pretty. They're down at 26. So I think that this is a good opportunity for the Steelers to get a bounce back, but I'm mainly looking towards any Deshaun Watson unders. He did not look good against the Bengals last week. So his passing yardage goes on. His line last week was 235 against the Bengals. They've dropped it down to 205.5 for this game.
Still tempted to take the under on that.
Kenny Pickett is 200. I'm still sort of looking at, now this is obviously going to be a bit of a defensive slog fest. Rushing yards wise, Deshaun Watson, they're giving him 25.5 rushing yards, which he did hit last week. I think he finished on 35 or 40. Let me just jump to this game quickly.
I like a Patrick Peterson interception in this game, if that counts from the defensive side.
Could do. Deshaun Watson had 5 carries for 45 rushing yards. I don't mind the 25 taking over on Deshaun Watson rushing.
He's going to be running for his life. Again.
Would you go back to the well on Nick Chubb at all?
I don't like this game at all. It's a stinker.
Nah, you're staying away?
I would only take defensively. I would take TJ Watt hits and assists. If that number's 7, I would take TJ Watt to run into Nick Chubb a couple times, and he'll also get to the quarterback at least once. And okay. My picks on that game are purely defensive. I like an interception and TJ Watt 7 combined tackles and assists.
Yep. Last thing I'll say is, Dolphins at Patriots. I don't mind, even though the Dolphins are favored by 3, I don't mind betting on some of these Patriots receiving overs. I think that, the Dolphins backs, I know it was the Chargers, and obviously Chargers offense is very, very good, but they didn't look too good. And given the Patriots did look very good against the Eagles last week, there's a few that I might look over. I think Kendrick Bourne might be a bit inflated, but Hunter Henry, I think, could be a good angle to attack.
Yeah, or Douglas.
Or Demario Douglas as well. Yeah. I would not attack Keishon Boutte at all. Stay away. No, and same with Juju. Stay away from Juju.
I'm going to go to your just one quick one that we talked about before the show even started.
Yeah,
I just want to put this on record. Kenneth Walker, if you get this, I wouldn't do it right now because the line, I think I saw it at 63.5 was the highest that I could find.
Yeah.
But if you wait till right before kickoff and Kenneth Walker's up at 66, which I think he'll get to somewhere around there, probably. Maybe just under 65. Just take the under. Take Kenneth Walker under on his rushing yards.
Yeah. Is it 60? 61.5 at the moment is the best.
The highest I saw was 63.5.
Yeah,
on underdog. But take the under, and you're welcome.
David Montgomery over 58.5 as well. I actually like that because the Seahawks really struggled to get pressure on the Rams last week. Their D-line, it does not look much improved. The Seahawks as the whole defense just do not look much improved.
Jahmyr Gibbs is also going to catch a couple balls out of the backfield.
Yeah, man. I wanted to talk about him, but after last week, he was my lock. He let me down.
So. We got burned.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. But
no.
But if you had to twist my arm, I would go back to the well and I would take Jahmyr Gibbs for 26.5.
Yeah,
but I'm not doing it, John.
All right,
I'm not doing it.
Game day.
You know I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, Sunday morning will roll around and you'll be like, "Hey, John, here's my ticket. Check it out." I'm like, "Oh,
Jahmyr Gibbs." Yeah, you're right. It's gonna happen.
But yeah, hey, look, that was the story last week with Nick Chubb, and you were right. I did in the end tail that. It was good.
Yeah. I told you were gonna wake up Sunday morning. You were gonna go. If he's fucking that confident, man,
he's there.
Don't step in front of a man who's on fire. Just don't.
They look to him often, very often.
In the first 2 drives.
Yeah, and he was.
I made that post on Instagram. I was going, "Come on!" I was taking candy from a child. Actually, which is not easy. I have an 18-month-old at home, and taking candy from her is not easy. So I don't know why. Why is that?
Man, it's not worth the battle with my 2-year-old. You can have it.
Yeah, exactly. You can have it. Enjoy. All right, John, we good?
All right, bud.
We're good.
That's it. Good slate. Nervous, a little nervous about the slate.
Yeah. Well, we'll chat about this. We'll get some additional content up this week as well. Some in the moment on Sunday as well. I'm going to be in front of the TV. I might hook up and do a little live or something. Who knows?
That sounds good, man. I'm also thinking of doing an after the game as well. Instant react.
Why don't we hook up for one of those after the 1 o'clocks?
See, we go. Easy for me because it's in my time zone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
All right, bud.
Have a good one.